you're a motion designer, a passionate freelancer with a galaxy of stellar skills. But the freelance universe can be a tough place to navigate alone. Client Quest, our online course, can help you take control of your career, giving you the tools you need to get consistent clients and thrive as an artist. Our crew will help you navigate your freelance journey by supporting you at every stage of your mission with lessons and videos designed to help you create a system for winning and keeping a whole galaxy of clients. Now, a bold freelance voyager, ready to take on the universe. Launch into Client Quest. So, you're a motion designer, a passionate freelancer with a galaxy of stellar skills. But the freelance is a tough place to navigate alone. Client Quest, our online course, can help you take control of your career, giving you the tools you need to get consistent clients and thrive as an artist. Our crew will help you navigate your freelance journey by supporting you at every stage of your mission with lessons and videos designed to help you create a system for winning and keeping a whole galaxy of clients. Now look at you, a bold freelance voyager, ready to take launch into Client Quest.
Hi guys, welcome to this stream. I'm so sorry that I'm starting late. We had issues with the internet and my computer, and it was just a mess. But everything is fine now. Please, if you can hear me, just in the chat, just say you can hear me. I would really appreciate that. We have about 5 people currently viewing, and I'm grateful for that. This is not the time I usually stream, and I'm just really excited to be doing a stream at this time. Not for the first time, but I'm just so excited. Today, I have a very amazing person with me. I've been a fan of R for a while. I secretly envy everything about R. And I'm super excited to be talking to her. I sometimes fantasize about, just being on our on our podcast. I'm hoping it happens sometime in the future. Today, I have with me the legendary Ailey. Ailey, I'm trying not to mess up your last name. You let me know if I mess up your
Yeah, it's
Ailey
Akins.
Akins.
It's
Yeah,
Akins.
I'm having the
Yeah.
legendary Ailey Akins with me. How are you doing today, Ailey?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you to everybody who's watching us as well. This is going to
Thank you
be
very
good.
much. Looks like we have new faces watching us today. And I'm so excited.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
awesome.
I'm excited for what we would be talking about. I planned out this whole stream because I planned out the topic because I would say my finances are a mess. And I'm a creator and a motion designer, and if I was to pick any of the two, I'd rather pick being a creator. But I can't be a creator without having money, and my finances are not in the right order. And I've been on this journey from the beginning of this year to like creating what's it called, a a passive income source basically. And I started by writing a
Hmm.
book, seeing how many people like find value from that, and just finding ways to take create new income sources. My main income source right now is client work. This is basically you doing a consulting call for me and everybody watching.
Yeah, for
Yeah, for
free.
free. Like this is a
No,
consulting
it's
call for
good.
free.
It's very clever.
I'm
It's very clever. Very smart of you to get people on your show like this. It's a clever strategy.
Yeah,
I
thank
like
you
it.
very much. So the first question before we go into all the financial consulting thing is
Huh?
apart from your podcast, I really don't know anything about how you became a motion designer, your history, where you came from, and I just want you to tell us your story. How did you become a motion designer?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll try not to make it too long because that's kind of the boring stuff, and I'm sure we want to get to the actionable
Yep.
tips. But basically, I started out when I went to university. I did film production and music technology, so obviously I learned some After Effects and things like that at university, and then graduated and was basically just looking for any kind of job in television. So it was kind of more likely that I would be a runner, someone who just goes and gets cups of tea
Yeah.
and things like that. But luckily, yeah, exactly. Everyone has to do that job, you
Yes.
know. But luckily, I ended up being a junior graphics operator at a sports broadcasting company. So I learned how to do live sports graphics. I'm not that much of a fan of football, but I did that for a long time. And then I became a junior motion designer because I wanted to be more creative. And that seemed like the best place to do that. And then, yeah, cut a long story short, I did full time for probably about 7 years. And then I went freelance eventually. And then I did that for 4 years. And then I started Motion Hatch. And for a while, I was doing Motion Hatch and freelancing. And now I'm just doing
That
Motion
is so
Hatch.
cool.
So that's a really
Yeah, that
quick
is a really,
version.
you're basically at that level I want to be. I want to just like quit all the client work and just do personal projects for the rest of my life and work on the YouTube channel. Because I feel like I would be more fulfilled doing personal projects, doing like short films like Solomon Tekani and the amazing guys. And I'm happy you're at that level where you can focus in on just one thing that you really, really love and you're passionate about. So
Yeah.
the next question would be like, would be I would want you to go into more details about it, like maybe not a short version of the story. So like, how did motion art start? When was that moment when you knew you wanted to start
Um,
motion art?
yeah, so it's kind of basically how it happened for me is when I was freelancing, it seemed like everybody was struggling a lot with it and not charging enough and things like that. And some of my friends who I felt like were a lot more talented than me were charging less than me, and they were kind of struggling to negotiate and that kind of thing. And I didn't find it as difficult as them. Obviously, I still found it a little bit difficult. And when I started, I had to do what everyone else does when they start, which is like take their friends to the pub and say like, how much do you charge and stuff like that. I mean, luckily now we've got different communities that you can ask, like the Motion Hatch community and, you know, School of Motion and all of that kind of stuff. So that's great. But when I started, there was nothing like that. So it was a big struggle. And I felt like, oh, someone should make a website or something to help, you know, freelance motion designers. But I didn't really think that I should do that. And then I started wanting to travel more. And I just always told myself that I would never be a freelancer that never took any holiday and that kind of thing, because it really infuriated me when the freelancers would come in and I was working full time and they would just never take any holiday and they would just work constantly. And I understand it was from the fear of, well, where's the next job going to come from? And just like carrying on forever and just thinking, well, I better not take a holiday, you know, because this might be my last job or something like that. So I always wanted to do more traveling and utilize my time doing that. So when it was quiet in January, I wanted to go to Thailand and Myanmar for a month with my friend who was an editor. And I was like, well, I don't really know anything about traveling. So what I did was I liked listening to podcasts. So I found a podcast about traveling in Thailand and stuff like that. And it so happened that the two guys who did these separate travel podcasts also did a podcast called Location Indie, which was about building your location, like independent lifestyle and stuff like that, which I wasn't as interested in. But what I was interested in was the business and entrepreneurial side of it. So I joined their community and was a member of their kind of online community for a while. And I was like, this is amazing. Like someone should try and create something like this for motion designers. So it's that thought coming into my head, you know, over quite a few years. And then I met my podcast editor. He eventually was my podcast editor. He was also part of that group. And he was like, hey, maybe you should like start a podcast to try and help people with this stuff. And I was like, oh, well, everyone will not listen to it. You know, they'll hate my voice, all of the kind of things that everybody would think if someone told you to start a podcast. I definitely was there. And then it kind of is a bit of a blur after that, because I sort of decided to just go for it. And I was like, yeah, okay, I want to help people. You know, I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on this stuff, probably because of the amount of time I had spent in-house full time. I'd like worked leading a lot of teams of animators. I got to see a lot of the kind of more the business side because I was kind of in-house and working with the producers and stuff like that. So I started the podcast and just started talking to people like what you're doing, you know, interviewing people. And then it kind of just took off a bit. And then people started asking me for other things. And I saw that people were struggling with contracts. So I built a contract bundle, and then we built a mastermind, and then eventually kind of transitioned to doing Motion Hatch full time after that. So that's kind of the story.
That is so cool. I feel like a really good connection to your story. It feels like mine in many ways. Because like I started this channel because I wasn't seeing motion design content designed for Nigerians, and I'm in Nigerian, and there isn't really a motion community here, or there isn't really enough motion designers. There are amazing motion designers here, but they're like maybe like 4 or 5, and that's it. So and there's like this whole community of graphic designers and UI UX designers and just people who actually like motion design but can't try it out. And I just created this channel for, okay, since I already have a bunch of UI UX friends and UI UX communities, let me just create motion design content for them. And it kind of sort of transitioned into this. Then I did my first stream with Blink My Brain, and this is where we are right now. I'm doing it with you, which is so cool. And it's amazing.
Yeah, well, You've had some amazing guests, so you should be really proud of yourself. I think you're doing a fantastic job. And even in the chat, we've got some amazing people with us today, like some people I recognize, and they're just, it's really fun to be part of this community. And I think you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go straight to the meat of today's talk. So how would you say people can start building financially sustainable careers?
Yes. So the first thing is charge more, which I know everyone's going to be like, no, don't make me put my prices up, Hayley. It's too hard. I don't want to do it. But my advice for that is you've got to give yourself a little bit of room to negotiate. So always charge more than you think you should. So how I recommend that people do it is have 3 prices, right? So your top price, basically you have your price that you want to get, right? And that's the middle price. So I'm trying to do it in my hand here. Hopefully everyone can see. I'm like looking at the stream. And then
make it smaller so we can see your hands.
Yeah. No, you don't have to do that. It's fine. But anyway, so you have your middle price, and then what you do is you want to charge a little bit more than that, so that you want to say that your price is higher than that, so that when people negotiate with you, they negotiate you down, then you're getting what you want. And then what you want to do is have your lowest price that you will go. So you have kind of like the floor of the pricing. So you're like, I'm not going to go below this, like no matter what, for any project, like, because you can say like, okay, this is a more creative project, I'll do it for my lower price or something like that. But it just gives you room to negotiate. So just to recap, you've got the price you want in the middle and the price that you need to, afford to live. And then you've got charge a bit more than that. So you've got the price that you're actually going to tell the client initially, and then you've got your lowest price, and you will not go below that price. So this gives you a framework to work with.
It's just not it's just that I didn't prepare well enough. I don't think it's you. I think I could have been a lot better preparing for it. And I'm hoping people on YouTube can see us already. Just give us a moment. If you can hear us, just give us a moment to get this thing right. And 1 sec.
Yeah, hopefully everyone caught the last bit. If not, you can let us know if you've got any questions or anything.
I'm not even sure if it's live right now. I'm just refreshing.
I can see that I was talking.
Okay, that means everyone should be able to see us, I guess. I think where I stopped hearing you was when you were talking about like having 3 prices, and the middle one being the one you actually want. The middle one being the one you actually want to charge. The top one being like, I'm not sure what the top one was, to be honest.
Yeah,
but the last one
is. Explain it.
But the last one is the one you cannot go below.
Yes, exactly. So the middle one is what you think that you should charge, and then the top one is your kind of 20% or something above that. So that's what you should actually tell the client, because you want to tell them a bit more than you actually want, so that when they negotiate you down, then you get what you actually want. Does that make more sense?
It does.
So you're charging a bit more than you actually want, because then when you get the higher rate, you're like, yes, win. But then when you get negotiated down, you're not disappointed, because you're still getting the rate that you actually wanted in the first place.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that is how I would go about charging more. So some of the other things, because I know that your question was kind of a bit about how to build, sustainably financial careers. So I think like in terms of getting consistent clients, what I would say is you should build a system that is repeatable, because the problem that I see a lot of people having when they go freelance is they're they get a job and they're like, yes, I got a job, I got a project, that's awesome. And then they work really hard on the project, and then they don't do any outreach or they don't do any marketing. So when they finish that project, they don't have any clients lined up. So then they go into panic mode and then like email like 100 people or something. And then, and then they might get another job again. But you're kind of just in this like ebb and flow, where what you should be trying to do is filling the client pipeline, as it were, as much as possible, like when you don't need it.
You just
so you
defined
more picky.
My freelance career right now. I haven't been doing marketing. You will never find my portfolio anywhere except one Vimeo reel I did last year. And I just work. Like I have been working since the beginning of the year. And for like 2 months, I was in panic mode, no clients, nothing going on. Yeah, I was broke as hell. I'm always broke as hell. And you just basically described my freelance career.
Yeah, so what you need to do then is you need to build a system so that when you're working on projects, you can consistently do outreach and marketing and not feel like it's a big burden on you.
Yeah.
So that you're consistent with it. And then what will happen is you'll start getting more and more clients, and then you can say no more, and then you can do more projects that you want to do, or you can take more time off to do personal projects and things like that.
That makes so much sense. So the first step of like building a financially sustainable career in motion design is charging more. Noted. I need to stop charging how much I am charging and charge like ×4 of it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It depends how much you're charging. The best thing to do as well is to kind of figure out, what people are charging locally and stuff like that. It's quite difficult because it's different everywhere, and it's not like you should always charge that. You can charge based on value, based on where the client is, all that kind of stuff. But it gets quite complicated, So the best thing to do is think about what you think you should be charging, talk to other people, and then just like add a little bit more onto that as well. So then you have a bit of room to negotiate. Like that's the basics. And then like, secondly, like we were saying, you want to make sure that you're doing enough outreach and marketing, not only during the downtimes, but also during the times that you're busy. And how you do that is blocking out times in your diary to work on your business and not always in your business. Because when we're doing the actual work, we're working in the business, and we want to work on the business as well. And working on the business means doing that client outreach, keeping the clients warm, doing the social media, doing the personal projects to promote, all of that kind of stuff as well.
That makes sense. So the next thing for me is, because this is my personal consulting call, in case anyone is wondering. Okay, so for me now, I need to, what I need to do now is put my energy on working on personal projects and marketing and just getting the word out there about what I can do, because everyone sees my YouTube, but nobody has really seen my work, basically. Well,
yeah, you in particular you should get a website up. If you don't have a website, that's number one.
I feel like I've been too lazy because I've had like this old website planned out since last year, and I've never just had this time to just sit down and code it. So I'm just so lazy to make, because I'm this kind of person who is really, really I'm a perfectionist, so I would not use any platform, and I would just sit down and go and write the code myself and get like a custom design thing. But then the website would be so hard to manage because I wouldn't build like a backend for it. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you should just get like Adobe Portfolio or Squarespace or something like that, Like Adobe Portfolio is free, isn't it, with Adobe Creative Cloud Suite and stuff. So I think I would just do that.
Yep. I'm planning on using something like, I don't know, Webflow, and just getting it out there and just buying a theme. But that is, by the way, let's go to the next question. So what is the biggest mistake people make when they're trying to make decisions about their like finances?
Yeah, the biggest mistake, I mean, I feel like we kind of already covered it a bit in the last one, because we were talking about, when people aren't doing outreach when they're busy. That's like the biggest mistake people make, really, is not doing any outreach, not doing any marketing, not I mean, I don't think that absolutely everybody should be posting on social media and stuff like that. But for the students that have gone through my program and Client Quest, I feel like the ones that have been the most successful have built in a social media strategy as part of their, funnel that they're building to get clients. And a funnel basically is just like a marketing funnel, is where you have, you're trying to put the awareness part at the top, is where you want to get most of the people in, and you're kind of funneling them down through a system. So in Client Quest, of course, we talk about awareness, attraction, action, and advocacy. So this is kind of the system that you pull your clients through. So at the top, you've got awareness, and obviously that's the part that we've been talking about, like having a website, having a social media strategy so that you can build your awareness.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously going to be more people in that top part. And then in the attraction part is about, putting case studies on your website, kind of places that people can go deeper with you. I mean, like even for you doing this YouTube channel, that would be a part of your attraction thing. So you'd have awareness and then attraction, like pulling the clients through deeper so they can get to know you. And then action is obviously like turning them into a client. So things like proposals and things like that. Like the different tools in these different sections that you can use to build a system for yourself to be always getting clients. And then advocacy is the last one, which is actually people forget this the most. So advocacy is helping your clients to refer you, by sending them emails and saying, hey, do you have any recommendations of people who you think might need someone like me and could use my services? I'd love to get an intro from you, that kind of stuff. I'm kind of breaking this down really quickly and really simply because obviously we have a whole course on this, but I'm trying to give you as much as I can. And then also like testimonials, stuff like that. Testimonials are really important, and I think everybody should have them on their LinkedIn and on their website as well. And in the course, I kind of walk you through how to get those testimonials for your LinkedIn and your website, and walk you through all the stages and things like that.
That makes sense. Based on like everything you've said, I think for myself, I think the biggest mistake people make is they don't have a system. I definitely have a system for getting clients. My system is simple. Just have a good branding, like let people know you. I mostly get my clients through word of mouth. That is the only way I get my client, and it has worked for me. But I don't have a system for I have a system for just one side of your whole process. But I don't have a system for like the other parts, which is like the testimonials, the advocacy. Trying to remember the other words. I have a system. What I have a system for is
awareness.
So I was saying what I have a system for is awareness, while every other thing in the funnel I don't have a system for.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the thing is why it's difficult is because not everybody will get clients in the same way, you know, and I'm not going to say that there's one way for everybody to get clients, and everyone should use Instagram and they should warm their clients up and then they should send them an email and things like that. There's different tools and different ways that we could do it. And it's kind of what I'm trying to do is give everyone the framework so they can kind of pick out the tools that work for them and do a client and social media audit, see what's working for them, what they want to change, what they would like to experiment with. So a good example is maybe you think that you're okay, Instagram is where everyone gets their clients from, and you try Instagram and that doesn't actually work for you and it doesn't give you any clients. You wouldn't know that unless you were kind of auditing that system and you were putting deadlines in place and experimenting with it. But then if you were okay, that didn't work for me. I tried that for 6 months and I was consistent. And that's a really important thing on social media, is to be consistent. But then you went on LinkedIn and you did the same thing, and you really went all in on LinkedIn for 3 to 6 months, and you saw results because you're tracking that. Then that's how you get your clients, and you can double down on that. So does that make sense? It's about using the system to figure out what works for you, and then how you can kind of warm the clients up and draw them more into you and your brand, and eventually get them to hire you. So sometimes it takes a while, and we need to warm our clients up on social media before we send them a cold email and things like that. These are the kind of things that usually I'm recommending that people do.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's all about having a good system and being sure to track that system so you know exactly what works and what doesn't work. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, before we even do that, what would you say for someone like me who is trying to have 0 clients? Because I'm not super interested in the freelance life anymore. And I'm just trying to find income sources other ways. What would you say to me? How do you think I can do that?
Yeah, so what I would do, well, you're doing one thing already, is like have a big content piece. So obviously for you, that's YouTube. Like for me, it was the podcast, but I'm actually launching a YouTube channel in September, which I'm really excited about. So that's good. I mean, I don't know whether you're doing videos as well as these live ones. I haven't dug into it too much, but I'd say like if you want, I would do.
It started with videos. The live stream was just came after the videos.
Okay, yeah. So I would probably do more of them and be consistent with it and like really do research on what people are searching for. You know, if that's like certain types of After Effects tutorials or whatever you want to teach about, you know, and do the research of what people are searching for on YouTube. Because the great thing about YouTube is that it's a search engine. So you don't really have to do as much marketing. I was just talking to Premier Gal, you know, Kelsey Brannon.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she doesn't really market her YouTube videos. You know, the traffic is coming organically through the search. So that's kind of what you want. And that's what you would probably aim to do and build your audience up like that. And then you would ask your audience, okay, what do you want to see from me? How do you want to go deeper? Do you want some coaching? Do you want me to do a course? Like, you know, you just start talking to them and communicating and with your community and asking them, what kind of more stuff. And if you have a big enough audience as well, they start telling you anyway, you know, and it's just about trying to figure out, okay, what is the most, thing that's going to help them the most as well. And also what you feel like you can facilitate. There's many different options. Like I'm doing a Clubhouse pretty much straight after this.
Yeah.
About like 5 ways that you can make money on the side as a motion designer, you know. So we're talking about like affiliate marketing, sponsorship, digital products, physical products. I can't remember now what the first one was. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, especially doing YouTube, there's so many ways that you can make money as well. So even if you don't have your own digital products, you know, like I was saying, like plugins, like, I don't know, making mogurts, like courses, all of that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, courses and online training was the 5th one.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, exactly. So, and then affiliate marketing, obviously, if you had a big enough audience, then you could get in touch with brands and be affiliate for them. So that basically means that you can make a commission on like anything that you're talking about in your videos. The best thing to do with that as well is stuff that you would usually recommend anyway. So you don't really want to be recommending anything weird that feels like it doesn't align with your brand. You know, you want to recommend things that you know will help the people watching your videos. And the same goes for like sponsorship and things like that. And obviously after a certain point you get YouTube AdSense, but it's not really a big part of most people's revenue streams, you know, because it's quite small, even if you have quite big numbers. So
yeah, so it's about building audiences basically. And
yeah, that's number one, the first thing that you should do, unless you're going to go to a platform like maybe like Skillshare. But even then, I feel like if you don't have the audience to back it up, sometimes it can be difficult to make money from that.
that makes sense. Right now, I'm in this weird journey of like building my audience that I've spent most of my journey procrastinating and just writing down ideas, telling everyone about the ideas and then forgetting about them. Sorry. And I'm just in that process of like putting out content. I'm actually like doing this thing where I'm starting a newsletter, and I feel like that would be a cool way to connect with my audience, and you guys can sign up for it. This is the link. Sorry, I have my guys coming in the chat and I'm like so excited to see them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the first...
Yeah, go on.
You go on.
Sorry.
You wanted to say something?
I was going to say Rafaela had a question in the chat, so I wondered if we could...
Yeah, we could go over it.
We should answer that.
So how would you price for midterm... I didn't get that word, but midterm projects like 1 to 2 months full time? Would you still charge your usual fee or do a monthly discount?
Yeah, so this is easy. I would just charge my usual fee. I wouldn't discount. Even when I know sometimes people do, but even when I've been working with a client for a long time, if they're a really good client, then they'll respect your rate and they will pay you what your rate is. It doesn't really matter if it's over a longer period of time, because it's like you could be getting other work. So why should you devalue, your rate, because that is what you're worth,
True. I was gonna say that
So,
it depends on you, but I feel like you answered it pretty well. I feel like you answered it like
yeah, I
this
feel
before.
like yeah, just don't because I feel like for me, if you start discounting your rates, the clients are always going to expect that. So I feel like we don't really want to go down that route, because then next time they're going to say, oh, well, last time you did like that for 250, instead of 300. So can you just do that for 250 again? I know that, this is only a week now and not a month, and you get into these awkward conversations where I feel like is if you explain to them, I need to charge this rate because obviously that's how my business runs, and I can't reduce it, because if I reduce it, obviously like I'm losing out on money that I potentially could make with other clients. So I don't, I can't really do that. Like, I feel like most people would understand, and they're just trying to obviously put things within their budgets. And that's why I say you should have the three, those three different types of rates, because then I feel like it can really help you to figure out whether you should really take that project. So if it's below your lowest rate and you're like, this isn't worth it because it isn't giving me any more creative freedom or anything like that, then I wouldn't really reduce it.
That makes sense. Okay, so my next question would be a really interesting question. What is the best decision you've made in your career, and the one that has impacted your finances the most?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm really passionate about teaching people, and I feel like obviously building your own company and stuff can really help you in the long run. It takes time and it takes work, like I'm sure
Yeah.
building this YouTube channel out, it's going to take you time, but in the end, you might end up with something that has more value, to other brands and stuff like that, than maybe if you had just done a full-time job or just freelancing. So I'm really passionate about teaching people more about how to build alternative revenue streams, because I think right now with the internet and everything, it's very, it's very exciting. It's exciting that we can speak now and everyone can watch us on this live,
Yeah.
that you can connect with people and I can connect with people over the internet. I think that's fantastic. So I feel like as we kind of progress in this industry, you'll find that more and more people are doing that. And I was just talking to Kabeza Patata, they're awesome,
Yep.
directing duo studio, and for the podcast, and we were speaking on there about how they got kind of like their first influencer gig, I guess, because they've got like 60,000 followers on Instagram, and they had a tablet company reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to try our tablet and we'll pay you to post it on your Instagram? And how incredible is that, that motion designers can get paid money for like posting stuff on their Instagram.
That's so weird.
So it is happening. Yeah, it is happening and it is starting, but it's all about having that audience. And, they've got that audience because they do great work and they're consistent on social media as well. So, you don't have to necessarily have a big YouTube channel to make money from sponsorships and stuff like that. But you do have to have some sort of audience.
And you have to be consistent. I feel like the consistency is probably the biggest one. It's the one that really applies to me the most, is the one I dread. It's my weakness. It's my kryptonite. I'm the most inconsistent
but you should
creator. You
should just keep going and you should keep doing this because it will pay off for sure. And people will start to notice it. People are noticing it now. So, I feel like it's great. And like you say, I think it's really clever that you're doing these lives because you get to talk to people in the industry as well. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do my podcast too, is so that I, could interview the people that I wanted to talk to. And I still do that, now, I'm like, I want to talk to this person,
Yep.
as long as I feel like the audience will get something out of it too, I feel like it's a really clever way to network as well.
That makes so much sense. So let's just run through everything we've discussed so far. I know we've had multiple internet issues since we started. I think that is why I'm normally, when I'm having the stream, I'm constantly looking straight to the camera and looking at my guest in the eye. But today I'm just looking everywhere because I can't check. My internet is so bad. I can't really monitor the stream as I normally do on my PC. So I'm using my phone. So if you see me looking down, I'm probably just trying to check out who is chatting and trying to check out if people can see the stream clearly and see if everything is going well. So I'm sorry I'm doing that. But let's run through everything we've discussed. So we started with how can people build financially sustainable careers in motion design. And before anything, you said charge more, which is really important. You have to be able to charge enough to be alive and enough to handle all the personal projects and handle everything. And the second thing you said was have a system for getting clients and
test that system and
experiment with the system
as well.
And another thing you said is a mistake people make is that people don't market while they're working on projects and while they're busy. Like me, I'm definitely guilty of that. And I need to start marketing myself more and creating more content around my skills. I am planning to do that, I would see.
Yeah.
But that is the biggest mistake, not marketing yourself, not having a system and not marketing yourself. And then we went on to discuss, I'm trying to check out the question. What is the most amazing financial decision you've made? Which is basically, in one word, building an audience and starting Motion Arch.
Yeah.
And we went on it. We asked the question specifically to me was how can I leave this world of clients and just be a guy that does personal projects all his life, like people. And you said build an audience.
Yeah, definitely. And you're on the right track. So you're doing a good job.
I just need to fix my procrastination and inconsistency problems.
Yeah, you have to be consistent. You have to learn the tools and you have to give people what they want. So, do the research.
Yep. So before the next question, I just wanted to tell people I just wanted us to run through everything, and I wanted to segue into telling people about your workshop. I don't know when it is. Can you just, for this moment, just tell people about your workshop?
Yeah, sure. I'm doing a workshop on Tuesday next week, 6th of July at 4 p.m. UK time. And it's about how to generate passive income as a motion designer. So we mentioned some of the things today, like some of the ways that you can do that. But I'm going to talk more about how to actually build an audience and how to start doing that. I'm going to tell you what passive income is, if it's right for you. I'm going to take you through as well, the different types of passive income that you could do on the side of freelancing, or eventually if you wanted to full-time as well. And basically just how to get started with that, answer any questions that everyone has, and also I've got a really good offer that I'm going to offer at the end for just a select few people.
Yeah.
So if you want to get involved with that, I think you can. I'm just trying to find the link. I wasn't prepared to promote
I wasn't also
workshops.
prepared. I just thought it would be so cool to talk about it. Can you send me the link on the chat so I can post it in our chat? Yeah, so I can post it.
Yes, I am trying to get it up right now. But yeah, I'd love it if anyone wanted to join in on that, especially if you're interested in making money.
I am
on the
definitely
side as a motion
interested in
designer.
making money on the side. Okay, while she's getting the link, I've been working for the last 1 month on a newsletter, and I want you guys to hold me accountable to it. It's every week I'm obsessed about a new idea or a concept that I learn, because I'm self-taught. I call myself a scavenger in motion design because I didn't really take any course or any formal training, except this year, which I've had the opportunity to take really amazing courses. Thanks to a few people like Jerry Corman and Michael Jones. They've given me the opportunity to take the most expensive courses in motion, and I'm just so grateful to those two guys. And it's been amazing. This is the only year where I'm taking formal courses in motion design, and it's amazing. But I've been self-taught, and every time it's just a journey of me finding new things. And every week I'm just obsessed about just learning one new idea or the other. Like a few weeks ago, it was about shadow design, how people told stories with shadows and how they were able to enlighten in 3D. This is more focused on 3D and photography, but how they told stories with lighting. And I studied like artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Rembrandt and all those guys. And that's just what my newsletter is about. This is about my weekly obsessions and all the concepts I'm learning every week. And I would like you guys to join. There's going to be little to no spam in my newsletter because I hate spam. So you don't be afraid to like use your newsletter, use your real emails to sign up. Because I know people have like 2 emails, one for like the newsletter. I definitely have 2 emails, one for like the free stuff and one is my real email. So don't be afraid to use your real email for this one. It's called the GOAT letter. I don't know what the GOAT letter means.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Thank you.
I was saying like join the newsletter in the chat because I feel like you're doing like so much work on this live stream and the YouTube channel. I feel like it would be very valuable for everyone to join.
Like join the newsletter and just read the content. I have a new issue or new episode. I don't know what I'm going to be calling my episodes, or maybe Obsession 1 or whatever I'm going to call it. I have a new one coming next Wednesday, so don't miss it. It's going to be coming twice a month. So if I don't give you a newsletter twice a month, you can drag me on Twitter and say, oh, Roger's like a bad person and he's not giving us the newsletter, and just insult me, do everything you want. Just make sure you're holding me accountable to 2 newsletters a month. Have you?
Yeah. It's all about that accountability. You've got the right idea. You definitely need, the accountability. And I think it's great that you're learning in public. Like that's one of the things I always recommend people do.
Thank you very much. Okay, so before we continue, because I just wanted this moment for us to promote everything we're doing together. Please, I know that there's a lot of new viewers here, people that I don't expect to be watching. Before we go back into the questions or the final question, just don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Sorry. I feel like I should have said that way earlier in the stream, but like definitely hit that subscribe button so I can get to 600 really quickly. Yeah. Sorry. Enough marketing for us. Let's just get back to the final question. The final question is, what would you say to anyone who is trying to be financially free, like me, who is trying to find new ways to get new incomes and is just trying to make sure they have that money, trying to get to that dream they want to? I don't know how to describe it best, but I think I said it well. I'm just thinking about it too much. What would you say to someone like me who is trying to be financially free?
Yeah, I would say that you need to build your brand and you need to get in front of people. So I feel like you're doing some of the right things is, make sure, like we've been saying throughout, be consistent with whatever you decide to do. The most thing that you have to do is be consistent. So whether that's like posting on social media, doing a YouTube channel, doing a podcast, whatever it is, you must be consistent with it, because I feel like you need to train the algorithms and also your audience to know when to expect content from you. So I think that's really important for everybody, even if they don't ever want to build any passive income or alternative revenue streams, is the consistency part for building any sort of business is absolutely vital. So number one is be consistent, and then try and get your work in front of people. So whether that's your YouTube videos or your, portfolio, anything like that, is, make sure you're reaching out to people, make sure you're connecting with people, make sure you're building your relationships over time so it feels natural, but that you're doing it in an active kind of way. So I think what you're doing is really smart because you're talking to people on this YouTube channel. But, other people, if they want to do freelancing, they could, go on LinkedIn. They could start commenting and liking posts of like animation studios or agencies that they like. They could start following the producers of those agencies on LinkedIn, and they could start engaging with them, because I imagine there's lots and lots of producers out there and creative directors who are posting their work on LinkedIn and aren't really getting anybody commenting on their posts or anyone liking them. So if you're that one person that does that and you actually know their brand and you take your time to do that over a few months, and then eventually you email that person saying that you are available for work if they're interested, then usually that will be a much warmer lead in than if you just emailed them cold. And you might actually find that they reach out to you first anyway.
Yep. You said it best, but I would like to ask you again. What is some, because like I said, I struggle with the consistency. That is like my kryptonite. If you tell me, I will probably start crying because I know I have like a whole list. I wrote this whole list of ideas I have run away from since the beginning of this year. And I just want you, like, how have you been able to battle your, have you ever had issues with consistency, and how have you been able to battle it?
Yeah, so I think you've just got to make the decision that you're going to do this for a long time, no matter what. And I think it's like comes back to building systems again, is build a system around creating videos or whatever it is that you need to do. If it's personal projects, have it so you don't have to think too much about it. So I'm not, amazing at this all the time. Like, we have a system of how we make our podcast and what I need to do. And I try and batch record them, but that doesn't always work. But, having that system there and having it so I can go back to it, and also just the accountability of knowing, well, I said to everybody that we're going to have a podcast out every second Tuesday, of the month, like every other week. I know people are expecting it, so I had to quickly record a podcast yesterday for literally next week, because we had a couple of guests had to reschedule for various reasons. So that put us behind on our schedule. But I knew that I wanted to make sure that we got that podcast out on Tuesday. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make that happen. And I think you've just got to decide that that's what you're going to do, and that it is a priority to you, and don't get distracted by the other things that you need to do, and make sure you're planning your time, planning your year, doing little quarterly reviews with yourself, then breaking them down into monthly goals and weekly goals, and just make it really actionable and easy for you, and get the accountability as well.
Thank you very much, Ailey. You said it best. And I thank you very much for the stream. I definitely learned a lot. And once again, I really, really want to apologize to everyone for all the breaks, all the break-in transmission. I'm going to try my best to edit the stream after the best I can. The best that YouTube will allow me to edit any already live video, and just see how I can get it so you guys can watch it smoothly later on. But then this is like a masterclass this is a masterclass for me. You guys are just listening to our own conversation. This is a masterclass for how I could like go from being this one guy that is always broke every 2 months, and just being this guy that has like a smooth financial system, and is able to, pay for an editor and just have consistent content coming in. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to talk to Ailey. I hope that one day she invites me to our podcast. Psych. Sorry, wink.
Yeah, I will. I will. If you stay consistent,
If I stay consistent
with this YouTube channel, and I'm trying to give you the accountability you need, and you keep doing it, and then you can come on the podcast and tell us about it.
Okay, so this is the promise. If I get to 5,000 subscribers, when I get to 5,000 subscribers, you are going to invite me. You have no choice. We're agreeing here.
Yeah, and
we're agreeing here.
Yeah. Let's make a deal. It's fine. I'm up for it. That sounds
awesome.
good.
I'm hoping this is like the motivation I need. 5,000 subs in the next few months. Let's see how it goes.
Months. All right. I think like maybe you should give yourself a more achievable goal. But yeah, maybe.
Well, there are people who have not to compromise, but like people who have done it in like they've gotten to like millions in like a year or so, and I'm like, it's achievable. It's just
true. I'm just trying to make it realistic.
True. It's just I just need to make it more realistic. You're right. Maybe by this time next year. Let's see if I'm in 5,000 by this time next year.
Yeah, or you could say like 6 months, maybe. I feel like that would be better.
Okay.
That would be more achievable.
We'll
But
see.
yeah, we'll
Like,
see.
I just
We'll
need to
see.
get off this call, finish all the work I have, and start making content and just be focused and be consistent and get to that level where Ailey would finally invite me for our podcast.
Yeah, yeah, we would have you on the podcast anyway, but I feel like I like it that I like the goal aspect to it. I feel like
Yeah,
that's
thank you
cool.
very much.
It's a good story.
Yeah, it would be a really fun story, a really fun premise for the podcast. Thank you very
Yeah,
much,
definitely.
everyone, for like coming and just sticking through everything, sticking through the hard times. Please be sure to check out Ailey's workshop and also be sure to subscribe to the GOAT letter. I'm also starting a Discord very soon. I'm going to be sharing that when you sign up for the newsletter. Sorry. So that's just like a way to motivate you to sign up for the newsletter. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day. And the stream, I'm going to transition into the end card and we're all gone. So take care.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone.
Thank you.